The asteroid field near Helios 7 looked like any other region of dead space. Thousands of ice rocks drifted in the dark, following ancient orbits around a dying star. Nothing moved. Nothing lived here. It seemed empty. That was a lie. For 3 weeks, Earth's fleet had worked in secret. Chief Engineer Taemin had mapped every asteroid's path with perfect precision. Commander Sung-ho had positioned thousands of hidden weapons throughout the field. The ESS Fury had planted communication relays that couldn't be detected. Everything was ready. Captain Dae-hyun stood on the bridge of the Retaliation, watching the approaching coalition fleet on his sensors. 500 ships spread across space in a massive formation. They looked powerful. They looked unstoppable, but Dae-hyun knew better. Those ships were running on fumes. Their crews were hungry. Their equipment was breaking down. They were desperate and angry, which made them dangerous but also predictable. "Sir, the Coalition Vanguard is entering sensor range," Lieutenant Sung-ho reported. 150 ships led by Fleet Admiral Kethron himself. "Good, everyone into position. Remember the plan. We run, they chase. We lead them exactly where we want them." The Earth fleet suddenly appeared on Coalition sensors, 7 ships seemingly trying to block the path to Earth. It looked brave. It looked foolish. It looked desperate. Fleet Admiral Kethron saw them and felt a mixture of emotions. Respect for their courage, anger at their resistance, relief that he could finally end this. "All ships attack formation. Destroy those vessels." His second officer hesitated. "Sir, they might be trying to lure us into a trap." "Of course they are," Kethron said. "But we have no choice. Our fuel won't last if we go around. We must go through them. Besides, 7 ships cannot stop us." High Arbiter Velmos's voice crackled over the communication system. He was watching from a safe distance far behind the battle. "Destroy them, Admiral. Show no mercy. I want to see Earth's ships broken." The Coalition Vanguard surged forward, weapons charged, shields raised. It was a terrifying sight. Enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The Earth fleet opened fire, fought for exactly 5 minutes, then turned and ran, not in panic. In coordination, they retreated directly toward the Helios 7 asteroid field, their engines straining. "They're running," a Coalition officer shouted. "Permission to pursue?" "Granted," Kethron said. "All ships full speed. Don't let them escape." The chase was on. The Coalition fleet poured into the asteroid field in pursuit. Their sensors immediately began having problems. The dense rocks and ice created interference. But they could still see the Earth ships ahead, apparently struggling to navigate the hazardous terrain. Admiral Bora commanded the Earth fleet's retreat. She piloted her ship, the ESS Defiance, with perfect precision. Every turn, every dodge, every course correction was calculated. They were leading the Coalition deeper and deeper into the asteroid field. "All ships, mark your positions," she transmitted on the encrypted channel. "When I give the signal, we scatter. Stick to your assigned routes. The Coalition ships won't be able to follow." Behind her, the Coalition Vanguard entered the killing zone, ships packed close together trying to protect each other. Standard Coalition doctrine. Standard Coalition mistake. Commander Jiwoo watched from her position on a hidden weapons platform. She had volunteered to stay behind, knowing it might be a one-way mission. Around her, thousands of similar platforms floated in the asteroid field, disguised as debris. Each one was a railgun loaded with tungsten rods. "All platforms report ready," she transmitted to Dae-hyun. "We have targets locked. Just say the word." Dae-hyun watched the Coalition ships enter the perfect position. Not too spread out, not too bunched up. Just right. Signal given. Light them up. The asteroid field came alive with fire. Thousands of hidden weapons activated simultaneously. Railgun rounds struck from every angle. The Coalition ships, packed in tight formation, couldn't maneuver. They crashed into each other trying to dodge. Shields overlapped and interfered, creating weak points. Chaos erupted. The Earth fleet suddenly reversed course and attacked. They knew where every asteroid would be. They knew where every safe path existed. The Coalition ships were blind and panicking. Earth's forces tore through them like sharks through fish. The ESS Vengeance launched its entire payload of missiles. 2,000 warheads streaked toward the Coalition fleet. Half were aimed at ships. The other half targeted unstable asteroids. Explosions created chain reactions. Rocks collided with rocks, creating deadly debris storms that shredded hull armor. Fleet Admiral Kethron tried to restore order. "All ships, scatter! Break formation and fight independently," It was the right order, but too late. His fleet was already taking massive casualties. Dozens of ships were destroyed in the first minute. Dozens more were crippled and drifting. Then the coalition main body arrived. 250 more ships entering the asteroid field to support the vanguard. It should have been Earth's doom. Instead, it was exactly what Dae-hyun had planned for. Admiral Bora led the second wave of Earth ships. These were the newly built vessels, crude and hastily constructed. Their crews were volunteers who knew they probably wouldn't survive. But they had one job: delay the main body and create chaos. They flew directly at the coalition fleet, not trying to win, just trying to disrupt. They rammed when necessary. They fired at point-blank range. Some even self-destructed their reactors, turning their ships into massive bombs. It was brutal. It was horrific. It was effective. Dr. Hai-jin, coordinating the medical response from Earth, listened to the casualty reports and felt tears on her face. So many brave people dying, but they were dying to save Earth, to save humanity. Kethran fought desperately to save his fleet. He was a professional soldier, and even in this chaos he remained calm. He targeted the retaliation specifically, recognizing Dae-hyun's command ship. If I can kill their leader, maybe this ends. The two ships dueled among the asteroids. Kethran was skilled. His flagship was powerful, but Dae-hyun had Chief Engineer Tae-min keeping the retaliation operational, despite terrible damage. Hull breaches were sealed. Failed systems were rerouted. The ship kept fighting when it should have been dead. "Sir, the coalition is activating something massive," Sung-ho suddenly shouted. "Energy readings are off the scale. It's their planet-killer weapons." High Arbiter Velmos, watching from his safe distance, had made his final desperate move. If he couldn't defeat Earth's fleet, he would destroy Earth itself. The massive antimatter warheads were arming, targeting Earth directly. "Those weapons will destroy everything," Tae-min said, horrified. "Earth, Mars, every human colony in the solar system." But Intelligence Director Hae-won had been waiting for this moment. Weeks ago, she had infiltrated coalition computer systems. She had planted code. She had prepared for this exact scenario. "Initiating countermeasure," she transmitted from Earth. "Override codes accepted. Planet killer targeting systems are mine now." The planet killer weapons activated, but instead of flying toward Earth, they detonated inside the asteroid field. The explosions were apocalyptic. Matter and antimatter annihilated each other, releasing energy equivalent to 1,000 suns. The coalition reserve group was obliterated instantly. The main body was crippled. Even the vanguard, far from the explosions, suffered catastrophic damage from the shock waves. When the light faded, the Grand Fleet was destroyed. Of 500 ships, fewer than 100 remained operational. Most of those were damaged beyond combat capability. Fleet Admiral Kethran sat in his ruined bridge, fires burning around him, and realized they had lost. Completely. Utterly. Earth had defeated the largest military force in galactic history. He opened a direct channel to Dae-hyun. "Captain, I formally surrender. Please, no more killing. We yield." Dae-hyun's face appeared on the screen. His expression was hard, cold. "You came to murder my entire species, Admiral. Every human on Earth watched your fleet advance, knowing you meant to kill us all. Give me one reason why I should show mercy." Kethran thought carefully. Then he spoke from the heart. "Because you're better than us. You've proven that. Your tactics, your courage, your determination, all superior. Now prove you're merciful too. Don't become the monsters you were fighting against." Dae-hyun was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Ceasefire. All Earth ships stand down. Coalition vessels. You will surrender your weapons and submit to inspection. You will be given supplies to return home, but you will leave immediately and never return." Relief flooded Kethran's face. "Thank you, Captain." "Don't thank me," Dae-hyun said coldly. "Thank your own conscience. It saved your lives today. Now go home. Tell your leaders what happens when they threaten Earth. Tell them this was mercy. Tell them we won't show it twice." The transmission ended. The battle was over. Earth had won, but at a terrible cost. 9 of their original ships were destroyed. Thousands of brave humans had died. The victory tasted like ash, but humanity had survived, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The Coalition Council chambers had never been so quiet. Representatives from hundreds of species watched the recordings in shocked silence. Images of the battle at Helios 7 played on massive screens. The destruction, the chaos, the absolute defeat of the Grand Fleet. Fleet Admiral Catherine stood before them, his body still bearing bandages and scars. He had returned not as a defeated commander, but as a witness. You see what happened? 500 of our finest warships, gone. Destroyed by a handful of human vessels and clever tactics. High Arbiter Velmos tried to speak. We must build another fleet. We must— Enough! Ambassador Fentar's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. You have led us to disaster, Velmos. Your pride and arrogance brought us to this point. How many more must die before you accept reality? Other council members began speaking. Voices rose. Arguments erupted. But this time they were not arguing about whether to fight. They were arguing about how to make peace. We should isolate them, one representative suggested. Build barriers. Avoid their space entirely. No, Catherine said firmly. Avoiding them won't work. They know where we are now. They know our weaknesses. If we treat them as enemies, they will remain enemies. And I promise you they are very good at being enemies. Then what do you suggest? Someone asked. Peace, Catherine said simply. Real peace. Not the false peace where we simply ignore them. We must acknowledge what we did wrong. We must offer reparations. We must treat them as equals. Velmos laughed bitterly. You want us to bow before primitives? I want us to survive, Catherine replied coldly. Because if we fight them again, we won't. Captain Daehyun showed mercy today. He didn't have to. He could have destroyed every remaining ship, and none of us could have stopped him. He chose compassion. We should honor that choice by making genuine peace. The vote was overwhelming. 3 proposals were considered. Continuing the war received only 3 votes. Avoiding Earth received 47. But making peace received 203 votes. High Arbiter Velmos was removed from power that very day. The position itself was abolished, replaced by a council of equals. Ambassador Fentar was appointed as the peace envoy to Earth, given full authority to negotiate whatever was necessary. On Earth, celebrations filled the streets. Billions of humans cheered, danced, and cried with relief. They had survived. Their planet was safe. The alien invasion had been defeated. But in the halls of government, the mood was different. Defense Minister Jae Sung led a memorial ceremony for the 14,000 humans who had died in the war. Every name was read aloud, every sacrifice remembered. Captain Daehyun stood before a wall of names. His hand rested on one in particular, Commander Jiwoo. She had died manning a weapons platform in the asteroid field, fighting to the very end. Her last words had been a simple transmission. Earth endures. Chief Engineer Tae-min approached, walking with a limp now. His leg had been badly injured during the final battle. She would be proud, sir. We won, did we? Daehyun asked quietly. Look at the cost. Thousands dead. Ships destroyed. Families broken. This is what victory looks like? Yes, Dr. Heejin said, joining them. She carried her own scars now, physical and mental, because the alternative was extinction. Every person who died so billions could live. That matters. Admiral Bora addressed a gathering of Earth's leaders later that day. We did not want this war. We did not start it. But when the galaxy came for us, we showed them what humanity is capable of. We showed them that Earth bows to no one. Now we must show them we can build peace as fiercely as we wage war. 3 months later, Ambassador Fentar's delegation arrived at Earth's moon. They came in unarmed vessels escorted by Earth warships. A new space station had been built specifically for the negotiations, neutral ground where both sides could meet. The Earth delegation was carefully chosen. President Mi-sun led the civilian government. Defense Minister Jae Sung represented the military. Captain Daehyun attended as the warrior who won the war. Intelligence Director Hae-won brought detailed knowledge of coalition secrets. Dr. Hai-jin represented Earth's humanitarian perspective. Fentar began with words that surprised everyone. On behalf of the coalition, I apologize. We observed your world and dismissed you as insignificant. We attacked without provocation. We attempted genocide. We were wrong in every way possible. I do not ask for forgiveness. I ask for a chance to make amends. President Mi-sun appreciated the honesty. Your words are meaningful, Ambassador. But words alone cannot heal the wounds you inflicted. We have conditions for peace. The negotiations lasted for weeks. Earth's demands were clear. Recognition as a sovereign power. reparations for the dead and destroyed, a buffer zone around Earth space, justice for those who ordered the war, cultural and scientific exchanges, a permanent peace treaty. The coalition agreed to everything. They had no choice, but more importantly, they had learned respect. Earth was no longer a primitive backwater. Earth was a force to be reckoned with. Fleet Admiral Kethron attended as an observer. On the final day, he approached Daehyun privately. "Captain, in coalition tradition, the defeated may request a favor from the victor. I ask that you join our Security Council. Help us rebuild our military into a genuine peacekeeping force. Teach us what you know." Daehyun was genuinely surprised. "You want me to help the people who tried to kill us?" "I want you to help ensure no one else suffers what humanity did," Kethron replied. "You understand war. You understand its cost. You're exactly what we need to prevent future conflicts." After long consideration, Daehyun agreed, but only on his terms. Earth would remain independent. He would serve as an advisor, not a subordinate. And his first loyalty would always be to humanity. 5 years passed. The galaxy changed in ways no one had predicted. Earth's shipyards now built vessels for dozens of species. Human military advisors trained coalition forces in new tactics. Earth's culture spread across the stars. Music, art, literature, philosophy. Other species were fascinated by humanity's creativity and diversity. The coalition transformed from an empire into a genuine alliance. Smaller species gained representation. Military aggression was outlawed. The peacekeeping forces, jointly led by Kethron and Daehyun, focused on protecting trade routes and responding to natural disasters rather than conquest. At the site of the Helios 7 battle, a monument was built. It listed every name of every being who died in the war, coalition and human alike. The inscription was written in hundreds of languages. "Here, predators learned peace. May we never forget the cost." Admiral Daehyun, now older and bearing the rank of Coalition Security Advisor, stood on the bridge of a new ship. The ESS Reconciliation was a hybrid design, combining human and alien technology. Commander Sung-ho served as his executive officer. Chief Engineer Taemin maintained the complex systems. They patrolled the frontier, keeping peace in regions that had once known only conflict. It was strange work for a warrior, but Daehyun had come to appreciate it. Building was harder than destroying. Peace required more courage than war. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth," Sung-ho reported. "President Meeson wants to congratulate you. The Earth Alliance now has 47 member species. We're growing." Daehyun smiled slightly. "Good. The galaxy tried to wipe us out. They learned we couldn't be killed. Now they're learning we're indispensable. That's better than any weapon." Dr. Hyjin's voice came over the communication system. She now ran a medical exchange program, training doctors from across the galaxy. "Admiral, I'm sending you a report on our latest humanitarian mission. We saved 3 colonies from a plague outbreak. They're calling us heroes." "We're not heroes," Daehyun said. "We're just humans doing what we do best, surviving, adapting, helping others survive too." A message alert appeared on his screen. It was from the new Coalition Council, requesting Earth's assistance with a border dispute between 2 minor species. They wanted human mediators because both sides trusted Earth's fairness. Sung-ho read the request and laughed. "Remember when the galaxy thought we were primitive? Now they want us to solve their problems." "That's how you win in the long term," Daehyun explained. "Not with weapons. With respect. With trust. We showed them we could fight. Now we show them we can lead." He opened a galaxy-wide channel. His words would be heard by billions across hundreds of worlds. "This is Admiral Daehyun of Earth transmitting from the ESS Reconciliation. To every species listening, we are humanity. We were underestimated. We were attacked. We were nearly exterminated. But we survived. We fought back. We won." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. "But victory was never our goal. Survival was. Security was. Peace was. The galaxy let its guard down and Earth's deadliest ship struck. But that ship wasn't made of metal. It was made of determination, creativity, and the absolute refusal to give up. We're done being victims. We're done being ignored. But we're also done being alone. To any species facing extinction, facing oppression, facing impossible odds, Earth stands with you. We remember what it's like to stand on the edge of oblivion. We'll stand there with you. And we'll make sure you survive too. This is humanity's promise. We protect our own, and now you're all part of our own. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings heard those words. Some felt hope. The Coalition Council chamber was filled with angry voices. Representatives from hundreds of species argued and shouted. Fear spread through the room like poison. High Arbiter Velmos tried to maintain order, but even his authority was challenged now. Fleet Commander Rixall stood at the center, his reptilian body battered and bandaged. He had just finished his report. The silence that followed was worse than the shouting. Impossible, someone finally said. One ship cannot defeat 12. I watched it happen. Rixall replied coldly. I was there. These humans fight differently than anything we've seen. They don't care about honor or ritual. They only care about winning. Ambassador Fentar stepped forward. I warned you all. I told you humans were dangerous. They are persistence predators from a death world. They evolved by outlasting their prey, by never giving up, by using tools and tricks to defeat enemies stronger than themselves. So what do? A council member asked. Negotiate peace? Peace? Velmos laughed bitterly. With primitives who destroyed our ships? Never. We must show them their place. We must destroy them completely before they become a real threat. They already are a real threat, Rixall said. High Arbiter, I strongly recommend we open diplomatic channels. We can still— No! Velmos's crystalline body glowed with rage. I will not show weakness. We will assemble the Grand Fleet, every ship we have. We will travel to Earth and burn their world to ash. That will be our answer. The vote was close, but Velmos's faction won. The order went out across Coalition space. All military vessels were to report to Varric Station immediately. The largest fleet in galactic history would be assembled. Earth would be exterminated. It would take 3 months to gather such a massive force. 3 months to coordinate 500 capital ships and thousands of support vessels. 3 months that would prove to be fatal. On Earth, alarms screamed in every military command center. Captain Daehyun had returned home to brief the United Earth government. Defense Minister Jae Sung assembled the military leadership in an emergency meeting. They're building an invasion fleet, Intelligence Director Haiwan reported. She displayed images on the large screens. Our spy satellites show massive ship movements. They're gathering at Varric Station. Current count is 300 ships and growing. Admiral Bora, commander of Earth's small fleet, spoke grimly. We have 7 warships. 7. How do we fight 500? We don't, Daehyun said simply. We can't win a direct battle, but we don't need to. We just need to make them quit. How? General Kyung-soo demanded. They want to destroy our entire planet. Daehyun stood and pointed at the star map. Look at their fleet. It's huge. It needs constant supplies. Fuel, food, ammunition, repair parts. Everything flows to Varric Station from across Coalition space. Thousands of cargo ships making deliveries every day. Understanding dawned on Jae Sung's face. You want to attack their supply lines. Exactly. We hit the convoys, we destroy their fuel depots, we steal their medical supplies. We make it impossible for them to maintain that fleet. By the time they're ready to attack Earth, they'll be starving and desperate. That's guerrilla warfare, Admiral Bora said. It's ruthless. War is ruthless, Daehyun replied. They chose this path. We're just going to show them what happens when you threaten humanity's home. The plan was approved. Earth's 7 warships would split up and begin raiding Coalition supply lines. They would target the weakest convoys, strike quickly, and vanish before reinforcements arrived. It was piracy. It was cruel. It was necessary. Captain Daehyun took command of the operation. His ship spread across Coalition space like a plague. The ESS Vengeance attacked fuel convoys near the Kepler system. The ESS Defiance raided ammunition depots. The ESS Wrath, a stealth ship, infiltrated secure zones and sabotaged supply stations. Each attack was calculated for maximum disruption. The Earth ships didn't try to destroy everything. That would be wasteful. Instead, they stole what they could use and destroyed what they couldn't. They left wreckage and confusion behind. At Varric Station, Fleet Admiral Kethran watched his grand invasion plan fall apart. The legendary military commander had been brought out of retirement to lead this fleet. He was professional, experienced, and increasingly frustrated. Another convoy attacked, his logistics officer reported. That's the 15th this week. We've lost 40% of our fuel shipments. Redirect the convoys, Kethran ordered. Send them through secure routes with heavy escorts. We've tried, sir. The humans seem to know our routes before we do. They're always waiting. Kethran studied the tactical map. The humans were like insects, biting and running away. But each bite weakened the fleet a little more. Food rations had been cut. Ships couldn't get repair parts. Fighter squadrons sat idle because there was no ammunition for training. How long until we can advance on Earth? He asked. Sir, at this rate, we might not be able to advance at all. High Arbiter Velmos refused to accept reality. He sent angry messages demanding action. Find those human ships and destroy them, I don't care how. But Kethran couldn't protect supply lines that stretched across 50 star systems. He couldn't guard every convoy with a full squadron. The humans had made it a war of attrition, and they were winning. On the ESS Retaliation, Commander Jiwoo coordinated another raid. They had just destroyed a convoy carrying medical supplies. Well, not destroyed. They had taken the supplies for themselves and left the coalition ships drifting with disabled engines. That's cruel, Dr. Hyjin said, though she didn't sound upset. Taking their medical supplies. They were coming to destroy our entire planet, Lieutenant Sung-ho replied. I'd say we're being merciful by comparison. Daehyun checked the tactical display. Earth's raiding campaign had been running for 6 weeks. The coalition fleet at Varick Station was in chaos. Ships were rationed to minimum fuel. Crews were hungry. Equipment was breaking down with no spare parts to fix it. Sir, incoming transmission? Sung-ho said. It's High Arbiter Velmos. He wants to talk. Put it through. Velmos's crystalline face appeared on the screen. He looked different now. Less arrogant, more desperate. Captain Daehyun, we wish to discuss terms. Terms? Daehyun raised an eyebrow. You mean surrender terms? We mean a ceasefire, a truce. Stop attacking our supply lines and we will withdraw our fleet. No. Daehyun said simply. Velmos was shocked. What do you mean, no? I mean you don't get to threaten my home and then ask for mercy when things go badly. You came to exterminate us. You assembled the largest invasion fleet in history. You made your choice. Now live with the consequences. You're making a mistake, Velmos warned. We still have 500 ships. We can still destroy Earth. With what fuel? Daehyun asked calmly. With what supplies? Your fleet is starving, High Arbiter. Your ships are falling apart. Your crews are demoralized. You can't advance on Earth. You can barely hold position. And every day you wait, we grow stronger and you grow weaker. He leaned forward. Here's my offer. Disband your fleet. Send your ships home. Leave Earth alone forever. Do this and the raiding stops. Refuse and we'll keep bleeding you until there's nothing left. That's not acceptable, Velmos said, but his voice lacked conviction. Then keep your fleet at Varick Station, Daehyun said. We'll keep destroying your supplies. Eventually, your ships will run out of fuel completely. They'll drift dead in space. Your crews will starve, and Earth will remain untouched. The choice is yours, High Arbiter. He cut the transmission. Jiwoo whistled softly. That was harsh, sir. He needed to hear it, Daehyun said. Velmos still thinks he can win through pride and stubbornness. We need to break that illusion. But Velmos wasn't ready to surrender. His pride was too great. Instead, he made a catastrophic decision. He ordered the Grand Fleet to advance on Earth immediately, regardless of supply status. We'll resupply on the way. We'll steal what we need from nearby systems. We'll sacrifice everything, but we will reach Earth and destroy it. Fleet Admiral Kethran protested. High Arbiter, that's suicide. Our ships won't make it halfway there. Then we die trying. Velmos replied. I will not be humiliated by primitives. The order was given. The Grand Fleet, hungry and desperate, began its journey toward Earth. 500 ships limping forward on minimal fuel, with barely enough supplies for a week. It was madness, but it was also exactly what Dae-hyun had predicted. He watched the fleet's movements on his tactical display and smiled coldly. They're coming. Good. Hae-won, send word to Earth. Initiate the final phase of the plan. Sir? What is the final phase? Sung-ho asked. We let them get close, Dae-hyun said. We let them think they might actually reach Earth, and then we spring the biggest trap in human history. Chief Engineer Tae-min looked nervous. Sir, if this doesn't work, it'll work, Dae-hyun interrupted. Because they're not thinking clearly anymore. They're running on pride and desperation, and that makes them predictable. The coalition fleet advanced. The Earth fleet prepared. And between them, in a carefully chosen star system, a trap waited to be sprung. Fleet Commander Rixall stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance. Around him, 11 other coalition warships moved in perfect formation. They were the best of the best. Each ship was crewed by warriors who had never known defeat. Status report, Rixall commanded. His second officer responded immediately. We've tracked the human ship to the Krivix Nebula, Commander. The ion trail is clear. They went inside. Rixall studied the nebula on his screens. It was a massive cloud of radiation and debris, glowing with strange colors. His sensors showed interference everywhere. It would be difficult to navigate, but not impossible. They're hiding like cowards. We'll flush them out. Perhaps they're smarter than we think, his tactical officer suggested carefully. Why would they go into such a dangerous place unless they had a plan? Because they're desperate, Rixall said. They destroyed one frigate and now they're running. We have 12 warships. They have one. The math is simple, but as his squadron entered the nebula, Rixall felt uneasy. Something didn't feel right. The nebula was too quiet, too dark. His sensors kept showing ghost images, phantom contacts that appeared and vanished. Maintain formation, he ordered. Standard search pattern. Stay close together. On the Retaliation, Captain Dae-hyun watched the coalition ships enter his trap. Chief Engineer Tae-min had spent months mapping every corner of this nebula. They knew exactly where the radiation was strongest, where the magnetic fields would confuse sensors, where debris fields provided cover. They're coming in tight formation, Lieutenant Sung-ho observed. Just like you predicted, sir. They always do, Dae-hyun said. It's their doctrine. They think strength comes from staying together. Jiwoo, are the missiles ready? Commander Jiwoo grinned at her weapons console. Old-fashioned, dumb missiles. No electronics, no guidance systems. Just solid fuel and high explosives. Their fancy sensors won't even see them as threats. Perfect. Wait for my signal. The coalition squadron moved deeper into the nebula. Rixall's unease grew stronger. Where was the human ship? Why couldn't they find it? Contact! A sensor officer suddenly shouted. I have the human ship. Bearing 273, distance 50,000 kilometers. All ships attack formation, Rixall ordered. Focus fire on... The contact vanished. False reading, Commander. It was just debris. Rixall growled in frustration. Then another contact appeared on the opposite side of the formation. Then another. Then 3 more. His screens filled with targets, all of them appearing and disappearing like ghosts. Which one is real? He demanded. Nobody could answer. On the Retaliation, Dr. Hai-jin watched the chaos with satisfaction. This was your idea, wasn't it? Make them chase shadows? They're used to fighting enemies who play fair, Dae-hyun said. We're going to show them what unfair looks like. Sung-ho, how many false contacts are we broadcasting? 37, sir. Their formation is starting to break apart. Some ships are investigating the phantoms. Good. Now they're vulnerable. Jiwoo launch missiles. Target the 3 destroyers on the southern edge. Jiwoo pressed her firing controls. 20 missiles shot out from hidden launchers. They had no computers, no smart targeting. Just simple rockets following ballistic trajectories. To the Coalition's advanced sensors, they looked like debris. The missiles struck 3 Coalition destroyers before anyone realized what was happening. Explosions tore through their hulls. Atmosphere vented. 1 ship lost power completely. The other 2 limped away, badly damaged. Where did that come from? Rixall roared. Find that ship! But the Retaliation was already gone, hiding in a dense debris field. Its engines were cold, its systems running on minimal power. The Coalition sensors, designed to detect active ships, couldn't see it. It was invisible. They're playing with us, Rixall's tactical officer said quietly. They know this place. We don't. Rixal wanted to argue, but he couldn't. The officer was right. They were being hunted. Over the next 3 hours, the retaliation struck again and again. Each attack came from a different angle. Each time, the coalition ships couldn't locate their attacker before it vanished. Railgun rounds tore through hulls from above. Missiles appeared from below. Debris fields suddenly exploded, propelled by hidden charges. Taemin kept the retaliation moving constantly, using the nebula's magnetic fields to mask their engine signatures. Sung-Ho coordinated the attacks with perfect timing. Jiwoo never missed a shot. They fought like a ghost, striking and vanishing before retaliation was possible. The coalition squadron was being destroyed piece by piece. "Commander, we've lost 6 ships," Rixal's second officer reported. His voice was shaking now. "Our formation is in chaos. Crews are panicking. They don't know where the attacks are coming from." Rixal felt something he hadn't felt in decades. Fear. Real, genuine fear. These humans weren't fighting like any enemy he knew. There was no honor in this, no ritual, no predictability. They struck from darkness and vanished. They used tricks and deception. They attacked the weak spots and ran from strength. "They fight like animals," his tactical officer whispered. "No," Rixal said slowly. "They fight like hunters. We're the animals." Another explosion rocked a nearby destroyer. Rixal made his decision. "All ships retreat. Exit the nebula immediately. Do not maintain formation, just get out." "Commander, that's an order. We're leaving now." The remaining coalition ships turned and fled. They abandoned their search patterns, abandoned their wounded, abandoned everything except the desperate need to escape. Rixal's own flagship, damaged and limping, brought up the rear. As they exited the nebula, Rixal's sensors finally cleared. He counted his ships. Of the 12 that entered, only 4 remained combat-capable. The others were destroyed or crippled beyond repair. He had been utterly defeated by a single enemy ship. A transmission came through. Daehyun's voice, calm and cold, filled Rixal's bridge. "Fleet Commander Rixal, you came hunting prey. You found predators. Return to your high arbiter. Tell him what happens when the galaxy underestimates Earth. Tell him we're coming. Tell him we won't stop. Tell him that humanity remembers every species that ever threatened us. And we have very, very long memories." The transmission ended. Rixal stared at the empty screen. Slowly, he began to understand what Ambassador Fentar had tried to warn them about. Humans weren't just fighters. They were survivors. They had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day, and they had won. They had climbed to the top of their planet's food chain through pure determination. And now, the galaxy had made them angry. "Set course for Coalition headquarters," Rixal said quietly, "and someone get me a direct line to High Arbiter Velmos. He needs to know what we're facing." Back in the nebula, the crew of the Retaliation celebrated quietly. They had won their second battle. But Daehyun didn't celebrate. He stood at the window watching the stars. "Casualties?" he asked. "None, sir," Jiwoo reported. "Minor damage to the hull, but Taemin already has crews fixing it." "Good. How are our supplies?" "Ammunition at 70%. Fuel at 85%. We can fight several more engagements," Daehyun nodded. "We'll need to. They'll come with everything they have next time." "Heejin, how's the crew holding up?" The doctor considered. "They're tired, scared, but also proud. We just defeated 12 warships with 1. That's something to remember." "Make sure they rest," Daehyun said. "The hard part is just beginning." Sung-Ho looked up from his station. "Sir, what if they send 100 ships next time? Or 1,000? Daehyun smiled grimly. "Then we'll show them that numbers don't matter. We'll hit their supplies, their logistics, their morale. We'll make them bleed for every light year they travel toward Earth. By the time they reach our home, they'll be exhausted, starving, and terrified." "And if that doesn't work?" Jiwoo asked. "Then we fight anyway," Daehyun said simply. "That's what humans do. We fight until we win or until there's nothing left to fight for." The galaxy is about to learn that lesson. The Retaliation turned and headed deeper into Coalition space. Behind them, the destroyed ships floated in the nebula like monuments to arrogance. The war was escalating. Earth had struck twice now, and twice the galaxy had bled. But the Coalition would not accept defeat so easily. They would gather their forces. They would plan. They would come with overwhelming numbers, and when they did, humanity would be waiting. The stars looked peaceful that day. Too peaceful, perhaps. Captain Daehyun stood on the bridge of the ESS Retaliation, watching the empty space ahead. His ship drifted slowly, all weapons hidden, all systems running quiet. To anyone watching, they looked helpless. That was exactly what he wanted. "Sir, I'm picking up something on sensors," said Lieutenant Sung Ho from his station. The young officer's fingers moved across his console. "It's a coalition patrol ship. Frigate class. They're heading straight for us." Dae-hyun nodded slowly. His face showed no emotion, but inside his heart beat faster. This was the moment they had planned for. This was the moment Earth would stop being prey. "Let them come," he said quietly. "Everyone stay calm. Act like we're scared." Commander Jiwoo looked up from the weapons station. Her eyes met his and she smiled. It was not a kind smile. "The railguns are ready, Captain. Just give me the word." The coalition frigate grew larger on their screens. It was sleek and beautiful, covered in strange symbols that glowed with soft blue light. The aliens inside probably felt safe. They had ruled the galaxy for 300 years. No one challenged them. No one dared. Dae-hyun remembered why he was here. 5 years ago, a coalition probe had visited Earth. They said it was just for observation, but the probe had malfunctioned and crashed into a city. His wife and daughter were in that city. They never came home. The coalition sent an apology. Just words. Nothing more. Now Earth had words too. But these words came with weapons. "Captain, they're broadcasting to us," Sung Ho said. "Should I put it on speakers?" Yes, a voice filled the bridge. It sounded arrogant, amused. The alien spoke in broken human language as if talking to children. "Primitive Earth vessel, you are in coalition space. You will surrender your ship. If you obey, we will be merciful. If you resist, we will destroy you. Choose quickly," Chief Engineer Taemin whispered from his station near the back. "Captain, they're not even raising their shields. They think we're harmless and perfect," Dae-hyun said. He waited. The coalition ship moved closer, closer. He could see it clearly now through the window, just a little more. "Sir, they're within optimal range," Jiwoo said. Her hand hovered over the firing controls. Dae-hyun took a deep breath. First, the retaliation came alive. Hidden panels along its hull slid open. 6 railguns emerged and fired in perfect sequence. The sound was like thunder. Solid tungsten rods shot forward at incredible speed. No lasers, no plasma. Just metal, moving faster than anything the Coalition had seen in 1,000 years. The Coalition frigate's energy shields were useless. They were designed to stop beams of light and energy. These were physical objects. The rods punched through the alien ship like paper. Explosions bloomed across its hull. Atmosphere vented into space. The beautiful ship broke apart in seconds. Silence fell on the Retaliation's bridge. Then Taemin spoke quietly. Did we really just do that?" "Yes," Dae-hyun said. "And now everyone in the galaxy will know." "Sung Ho, open all Coalition communication channels." "All of them." "Yes, sir. You're broadcasting to every Coalition ship and station within 50 light years." Dae-hyun stood straight. He spoke clearly, his voice firm. "This is Captain Dae-hyun of Earth. You came to our world. You watched us. You studied us. You decided we were nothing. You were wrong. We have been watching you too. We learned your weaknesses. We built weapons specifically to kill you. This is your only warning. Leave Earth alone, or we will show you what humanity does to those who threaten our home." He nodded to Sung Ho, who cut the transmission. Dr. Haye-jin entered the bridge, her medical bag over her shoulder. "I heard explosions. Everyone okay?" She paused, seeing the destroyed ship on the screens. "Oh, so we're actually doing this? We're really going to war with the entire galaxy." "They started it," Jiwoo said. "We're just finishing it." Dae-hyun walked to the window and stared at the debris field. Small fires flickered and died in the vacuum. He felt no joy, no pride. Just grim determination. "Take us deeper into Coalition space," he ordered. "Maximum stealth. We're not done yet." Far away on a massive space station at the center of Coalition territory, alarms began to sound. High Arbiter Velmos, a being made of living crystal, watched the transmission from Earth. His body glowed with anger. "Primitives," he hissed. "Insects. How dare they destroy a Coalition vessel?" Beside him, Fleet Commander Rixall watched more carefully. The reptilian warrior had fought many battles in his long life. He recognized danger when he saw it. "High Arbiter, perhaps we should consider their warning. That was an efficient kill, very efficient." "Are you afraid?" Velmos asked coldly. "I am cautious," Rixall replied. "There is a difference. In another chamber, Ambassador Fentar felt the transmission through his telepathic senses. The Mindweaver being had studied Earth before. He knew something the others didn't. He rushed to the command center. "You must not underestimate them," Fentar said urgently. "Humans are persistence predators. On their world, they hunted animals by chasing them for days until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They don't give up, ever." "Enough," Velmos commanded. "I will not be lectured about fear by my own council. Rixal, take a squadron, 12 of our finest warships. Find this human ship and destroy it. Make an example of them." Rixal bowed his head. "As you command, High Arbiter. Though I still believe, you believe what I tell you to believe. Go. Bring me their captain's head." Rixal left to prepare his ships. Fentar tried to speak again, but Velmos silenced him with a gesture. "The matter is settled. These humans will learn their place." But deep in his crystalline heart, Velmos felt something he had not felt in 300 years. It was small, barely noticeable. It might have been doubt, or perhaps it was fear. On the retaliation, Daehyun gathered his officers. "They'll come for us now. Probably a full squadron, maybe more. We're going to lead them somewhere specific, somewhere we have every advantage." "The Krevix Nebula?" Taemin asked. "I've been mapping it for months, exactly. We know every radiation pocket, every magnetic field, every piece of debris. They don't? We're going to teach them a lesson about hunting humans." Jiwoo checked her weapons systems. "How many ships do you think they'll send?" "Knowing their arrogance?" Daehyun smiled grimly. "Not enough, but more than they can afford to lose." The retaliation turned and accelerated toward the Krevix Nebula. Behind them, 12 coalition warships began their pursuit. The hunters were coming. They didn't realize they were already prey. Earth had been dismissed as primitive, as harmless, as irrelevant. That was the galaxy's first mistake. It would not be their last. The war had begun and humanity had drawn first blood. But blood once spilled demands more blood. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you threatened a species that had clawed its way to the top of their own world's food chain. In the cold void of space, the retaliation disappeared into the glowing clouds of the nebula. Daehyun stood at his station, watching the pursuing ships approach. His expression was calm, but his eyes held the cold focus of a predator. "Welcome to our hunting ground," he whispered.